Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice Radio. So today, we're going to be looking at another exciting new card from the Fairy Rise expansion over in Japan. It's Beautifly, and it's another one of these Pokemon that could end up being full-on invincible. Now, I know we've talked about a few of these cards in the past. We talked about the Fairy Charm cards just the other day, which make some Fairy Pokemon immune to particular types. And we talked about Wailord a while ago, still one of my favourite options for a potentially invincible deck. Well, ladies and gentlemen, today we've got Beautifly, and this could again be one of these Pokemon that has a chance to be, as I like to put it, full-on invincible. So, our translation, of course, comes from the lovely David Hochmann over at limitlesstcg.com/translations, and it has 130 HP, which is not impressive. Pokemon nowadays, Stage 2s tend to have about 160 HP. Think Empoleon. Couple of days ago, I was having a little bit of a whinge about the new Gardevoir from this particular set, and that new Gardevoir only had 130 HP, so why would I not whinge about Beautifly having 130 HP? Good news is it can take a hit from Zoroark without being KO'd, and Moltres, I mean, look, that's going to be the new Pokemon that Fire decks used to get rolling, and that hits 30, and with weakness is 60, so you can take 2 hits from that. Suppose it could be worse. Not a bad weakness as it happens. And retreat cost of 1 means that if you want to play Escape Board to get free retreat, you can. Whoop, and indeed whoop. Being a grass Pokemon means that you can use Lurantis, the promo, and I know I mentioned this in a bunch of videos, and I know that I pretty much always follow it up by saying, yeah, that's never been any good. This is one of the ones we are most gonna want to play around with this. And of course, you're hitting weakness against stuff like Lycanroc. And before we properly jump in here, I need to remind you about the Cascoon that we had a little bit of a look at a little bit of a while ago. I'll pop a link to it in the description. And that Cascoon essentially was water duplicates, but for either Cascoon or for Silcoon, which means we've actually got a really nice way to get this particular Pokemon up and rolling. We had a look at Dustox. Again, I'll pop a link to that one in the description. It's an alright card, but we were most impressed with the Cascoon. Because essentially here, you evolve up into a Cascoon, you attach a single energy to said Cascoon, and then you can go and search out 4 in any combination of Cascoon and Silcoon. Now, Cascoon is a good card because it evolves into Dustox, and Dustox plays around with special conditions, etc. I mean, when you evolve up into it, you get Paralysis and Treble Poison, which is pretty gosh darn good. But now it seems that we'd actually rather have Beautifly evolving from Silcoon. The point here is you've got Cascoon that helps you search out your Silcoon, and it also can search out Cascoon, 4 in combination of, which gives you super easy access to Dustox with the awesome ability. So if you're playing Beautifly, you've got a really nice stage 1 to help you get set up, and you've got access to Dustox there with a really nice ability. And I know we've taken a little while to get into the attacks here because you really did need all of that to really get into this card. Remember, as always, there are timestamps in the description. So what do we actually have here? Well, for 1 colorless energy, this attack does 50 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. It sucks. Once again, we're doing 50 damage, not 60. If we're hitting 60 damage, then a Routes, down in 1 hit. A Zorua, down in 1 hit. So many relevant 60 HP Pokemon, in case another one, down in 1 hit. That would be wonderful. But no, ladies and gentlemen, no deal. It's very annoying. Look, there will be times when your opponent has a Pokemon on the bench with 50 or fewer HP remaining. This will get you a KO. Or maybe in the active. Or maybe you're hitting for weakness and then you're doing 100 for weakness, 160 with a choice band. There will be times you can get a KO with this, but honestly, It's, while it's there, you never know, we might use it. It's an attack to bear in mind because there'll be the odd game it's useful rather than a reason to play the card. But ladies and gentlemen, this second attack, this one is fun. What it does, for 1 grass energy, 30 damage. Now I know what you're thinking. 30 damage isn't that much. But if your opponent's Pokemon gets knocked out by damage from this attack, prevent all damage and effects of attacks done to this Pokemon during your opponent's next turn. That's ridiculous, ladies and gentlemen. Because a lot of these things give you immunity from damage, but your opponent can still come out with something like poison or burn and wear you down. But no, ladies and gentlemen, this gives you actual, factual immunity from, like, anything. Now, it's only from an attack. Abilities will still go through. But it gives you immunity next turn. That, ladies and gentlemen, is absolutely wonderful. This will make a difference. The problem is you've got to take a KO. If you're not taking a KO, then you're literally just doing 30 damage for 1 grass energy. That ain't good enough. But if you are taking a KO here, then you're getting immunity the following turn. And if you can keep taking KOs turn after turn after turn, then your opponent can never KO you. Now, sure, they can use a Guzma to pull Pokemon off the bench, but you know what? Sooner or later, one of two things is going to happen. Either they're going to run out of Guzma, or you're going to have no other bench Pokemon, and then you're golden. The thing is, how do we possibly get to a situation where we're taking a prize every single turn? And this is where the Promo Lurantis comes in. You see, if you've got 4 Promo Lurantis on your bench, then all of a sudden, you're not doing 30 damage, you're doing 110. That makes a bit of a difference. Now, I don't think you're going to have 4 out. To be honest, that's not exactly reliable. But even if you've got 2 out, 70 damage, 100 with a choice band, you're pretty much 2-hit KOing most things. But remember what I've said in the past on more than one occasion. If you can't get a 1-hit KO, then get a 2-hit KO with Disruption. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Dustox. You see, Dustox here, automatic paralysis and treble poison. So first of all, it stops your opponent attacking for a turn. Yes, a skateboard is still going to be played next format. In fact, it's going to be played a lot more with Floatstone rotating out. And people are still going to have Guzma, so they might be able to get out of it. But first of all, they can't attack. And second of all, they're taking damage from poison. And by the time it comes back to your turn, they've taken 6 damage counters from poison. And then hopefully, you take a KO with Beautifly. You're not doing that much damage here. That's obviously a deliberate design choice. It was never going to be easy to take a KO every turn with a Pokemon that gets immunity when it takes a KO. That would be dumb. However, you can make this work. And the great thing is, you've got Cascoon to help you set up, because otherwise all these stage 2s would be awkward. You've got Dustox to paralyze while you wait. I'm not saying this is going to be a top tier deck that will crush everything, but I am saying that between Cascoon to help you get set up, Dustox to do a little bit of paralysis, and then this getting immunity, you don't need immunity every single turn here. Let's say, for argument's sake, you can get immunity every other turn. That means your opponent's taking 1 prize every 2 turns if they're 1-hit KOing, and they might not be 1-hit KOing. Let's say you can paralyze 1 in every 3 turns and get a KO 1 in every 3 turns. That means your opponent gets 1 attack per 3 turns. Yeah. This is going to be an awkward deck to use, I have no doubt about that. But you cannot tell me there isn't some potential here for a Pokemon that gets immunity when it takes a KO, has a stage 1 to help it set up, and Frogadier proved that stuff like this works, while having another complementary stage 2, which does automatic paralysis plus poison. I'm going to be giving this 3 Wassies. I do think there is a lot we're asking here in terms of setup. And I know that is going to put some people off playing it, and it does mean that it's not always going to work. But it's one of those cards, one of those combinations that is so good when it works, we have absolutely got to give it a test. Because if anyone can make this deck work, they are going to win tournament after tournament after tournament. But ladies and gentlemen, I want to hear from you guys. Do you think this Beautifly is good, or do you think it's too much effort and will never actually work? Let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! But remember the rule, be nice. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all of that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves. Until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.